A deal on DACA. Will Republicans in the House of Representatives be forced to vote on the issue whether they want to or not? Moderate Republicans are threatening to use a parliamentary procedure to force a vote on the House floor. The vote would help determine the fate of hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants brought illegally to the U.S. as children. South Florida Republican Congressman Carlos Curbelo is one of those moderates leading the way on pushing for a vote, and we're glad that he's joining us tonight from the nation's capital. Congressman, good to see you. So where are you in terms of getting your Republican colleagues to reach a deal on DACA?
Rick, good evening from Washington tonight from the Capitol, where it's been an intense but exciting week for those of us who support immigration reform that includes a permanent solution, a future in America for DACA recipients and other young immigrants who arrived in our country as children. We are very close to reaching an agreement among House Republicans and our leaders to bring legislation to the floor. Those discussions will continue tomorrow. And at the same time, a group of us is working on a discharge petition, which is a process that would force 4 different immigration bills to come to the floor. So I think the chances are that one way or another, the House is going to take action on immigration for the first time in over a decade. Over the last 10+ years, the leadership of both parties at different times has refused to advance immigration legislation, and because of our initiative, it looks very likely that that's going to happen now in the coming weeks.
Congressman, there are so many people here in South Florida who would be impacted by this. People around the country very interested in knowing the framework for this deal that you are trying to hash out right now. What can you tell us about this compromise and what it might mean for the so-called dreamers?
Well, this compromise would mean a future in America for dreamers with a bridge onto the legal immigration system. So not only would these young immigrants be shielded from deportation permanently, but they would also be able to pursue a pathway into the legal immigration system. So that's something that's very encouraging. Now, in addition to that, we also want to strengthen border security. We know there's a lot of drug trafficking at the border, obviously a lot of human trafficking. We want to help put an end to that, and we also want to reform our immigration system so that it better complements our economy. We know, especially now, we're seeing so much economic growth and job growth that a lot of jobs are going unfilled, and we want to make sure our immigration system allows our economy to continue growing and businesses to continue hiring and growing.
Congressman, your opponent, Debbie Mercasel-Powell, told the Miami Herald, quote, "Miami deserves a leader on this issue, not a congressman who only takes common sense steps to support the DREAM Act more than 6 months after more than 6 months of pressure here in Miami and from dreamers across the country." What's your response to that charge from her?
Well, that's a shame that someone would be so disingenuous while people here are actually trying to get something done. I've been an advocate for dreamers since I was on the school board many years ago. But look, now's not the time to listen to hecklers. We really need to focus on those who are trying to get this job done, get us across the finish line, and finally, after so many years of debate, get a solution for dreamers and also strengthen the rest of our immigration system.
Well, we'll be watching very closely to see what you and your colleagues come up with. Hillary Clinton won your district here in South Florida, as you well know, by more than 16 percentage points in the last presidential election. There are no other Republicans who are running for re-election who are sitting in a district where Hillary Clinton won by that wide of a margin. How does that make you feel going into this election? Do you feel like you're at risk?
I feel great because while Hillary Clinton did win my district by 16 points, I won it by 12 points. Why? Because my community knows me. I know my community. People back home know that I'm here trying to make a difference, work on tough issues like immigration, like gun safety, like environmental policies, tax reform, a host of issues that I work on here every day trying to bring Republicans and Democrats together to actually get something done for our community and for the country. So I feel very confident thinking about the upcoming elections.
Will you be inviting President Trump to come here and campaign with and for you?
I've never invited anyone to campaign for me. Now, anyone who embraces my record of bipartisan cooperation, of trying to build consensus here in Washington, D.C., anyone who wants to come down to South Florida and highlight that record, Republican, Democrat, Independent, is welcome to do so.
But there are a lot of Republicans around the country who would welcome the president's support and endorsement. Will you ask him for his?
As I told you, I have not asked for any endorsements ever. I stand on my own 2 feet when it comes to campaign season and election season. And anyone who wants to come to South Florida and supports my record, supports the work I've done here in Congress, is welcome to do so. But I feel very confident going into this election cycle. Again, as I've done in the past, I'll be campaigning on my record, on my work. Anyone who wants to embrace that, support that, is welcome to do so.
Congressman Carlos Curbelo, always good to talk to you, sir. Thanks very much for your time tonight.
Thank you. Have a good night.